Hi there guys, I'm Nikhil from Greedy Tech and this is the unboxing of the Infinix S3X and a quick hands-on review. So guys, this is the box. Now this is the Infinix S3X and this is supposed to be the successor to the Infinix Hot S3. Now coming to the box design, it looks quite unique with all this glittering effect, and once again we have a quick preview of how the phone looks on the front along with the storage variant or storage information on the top. It says 3GB, 32GB. There might be another variant with 6GB and 64GB as well. We'll let you know in the description below. And on the right side it just says S3X, and on the left side once again it says the same. And on the back we have the regular specifications, made in India sticker and IMEI number, pricing and all. I'll talk about specs in a second, so let's just move on with the unboxing. Now this phone will be sold exclusively on Flipkart, just like all the previous Infinix phones. Base variant comes with 3GB of RAM and 32GB of storage. On the box it's priced at 11,000 rupees, but it should be priced around 10,000 rupees on Flipkart. Now this one will be available in 3 colors: Aqua Blue, Sandstone Black and Tradewind Grey, and we have the blue color. By the way guys, this is the first phone from Infinix to come with a display notch. So guys, on the front we have the phone itself with a sticker, pretty huge sticker. Let me just put that aside for now. Next we have, what do we have? A big cardboard box. So let's open it up first. Inside that we have some documentation, starting off with Infinix warranty card, I guess. Some more documentation. Next we have a screen guard. Pretty nice gesture, but I wish they could have applied it already. And finally we have the soft silicone case, and this is how it looks like. So it is slightly grayed out. I like this color, so I'll come back to it in a minute. Now over here we have the SIM card ejector. I was looking for the SIM card ejector in this box, but it was right here. Next we have the flat style micro USB cable, which I personally really like. And next we have the power adapter. Now this is a regular 10 watts power adapter, so there's no fast charging in this phone. So guys, these are all the contents of the box. Now let's come back to the phone. So guys, this is the phone, and on the front it has a sticker with all the highlighting features like the huge display with the notch, AI selfie, dual camera setup on the back, and face unlock. Let me just remove that. Now this is how it looks on the front. Now coming to the back, once again we have the regular IMEI number stickers and volume button information, SIM card tray information and so on. So guys, this is how the aqua blue color looks like. Now let me just put on the case and show you how it looks like with the case on. Now this is how the phone looks with the case on. It has a slightly raised lip for the camera module, all the cutouts are there. It even has this flap for the charging port to protect it from water, I guess. And it even has a slightly raised lip on the front. So on the whole, this case definitely gives you a nice grip and a bit of protection for the camera module. And because of the case, now the fingerprint scanner is much more easily traceable and accessible. Now usually I prefer tinted cases as they don't tend to get dirty quickly, but this one has this awesome looking back, so in this particular case I wish it had a transparent case. Anyway, coming back to the phone, let's have a quick physical overview and then check out the specs. On the back, this phone has a fiberglass with this super reflective shiny wavy patterns, and it just looks amazing. On the side, this central frame holding everything together is made of metal and also has a nice shiny paint job done to it. Now coming to the rear cameras, it has dual camera setup with a 13 megapixel primary camera with f2.0 aperture and a 2 megapixel secondary camera for depth sensing. That's followed by dual LED flash, fingerprint scanner and Infinix branding, and at the bottom it says Hot S, designed by Infinix. Now on the front, it has a pretty huge 6.2-inch IPS display with HD+ resolution in the new 19:9 aspect ratio, with a display notch with 500 nits of brightness and 86% screen to body ratio. It also has a 2.5D curved glass to make it look a bit more premium. Now inside the notch, it houses a 16 megapixel front facing camera with f2.0 aperture, earpiece and a dedicated front facing flash along with some sensors. Below the display, it's completely plain. Now on the right side, it has the power and volume buttons made of plastic, which have a nice clicky feel to them. On the left side, it has a SIM card tray housing 2 nano SIM slots along with a dedicated SD card slot. At the top, it is just the audio jack, and at the bottom, it has the mono speaker followed by the micro USB charging port and the primary microphone. Now coming to the internal specifications, under the hood it sports a Snapdragon 430 processor with 4 Cortex A53 cores clocked at 1.4 GHz and 4 Cortex A53 cores clocked at 1.1 GHz. It also comes with a Adreno 505 GPU with 3GB of RAM and 32GB of storage. It will be running a custom skinned version of Android called XOS Hummingbird 3.3 based on Android 8.1 Oreo. Now finally, this phone has a massive 4000 mAh battery, and as I've said earlier, there's no fast charging on this phone. Now with all this phone has a thickness of 7.9 mm and weighs just 157 grams. Now just for a quick reference, Redmi Note 5 and Note 5 Pro, which also come with a similar 4000 mAh battery, almost weigh 180 grams. But compared to those phones, this phone is definitely pretty lightweight. So guys, now let me turn on the phone and set it up and see what we get right out of the box. Haptic feedback while registering the fingerprint scanner was quite strong and wasn't all that impressive. So guys, this is how the phone looks once we turn it on. Now these are all the apps that this phone comes pre-installed with, and there is quite a bit of bloatware like Facebook, Flipkart, Opera News, Palm Store and many more. It even has WhatsApp pre-installed. Now most of these applications you might be using it right out of the box, but they shouldn't come pre-installed. We should have the option to install them. Anyway, we can uninstall them by just doing this, and that's uninstalled. Now if there is any application that you don't use on this phone, uninstall it immediately. So guys, out of that 3GB of RAM, 1.4GB is already used, so you get about 1.6 to 1.8 GB of free RAM right out of the box. Now coming to the internal storage, out of that 32GB of space, you get about 23.42 GB of free space for your user apps and user data. Now that's definitely more than sufficient, as this phone also comes with a dedicated SD card slot. Now this is the about page, and this phone is running a custom skin version of Android called Hummingbird XOS version 3.3 Lite. It is based on Android 8.1.0, that's Oreo, and it has the latest September security patch. Now this brand Infinix does provide regular software and security updates, so that's a pretty great thing. And even the software UI is very well optimized. Now this phone comes with an entry-level Snapdragon 430 processor, that's like 2 generations old, and obviously it isn't that powerful. But still, because of the overall OS optimization, so far phone feels pretty smooth. Like I didn't see any choppiness in animations, and the entire UI is very responsive. That's really one of the best things about this XOS or whatever they want to call it. Now this is the interface for the rear camera. It by default starts with AI camera. On the right side you have the beauty mode, and then we have the portrait mode. Now in this portrait mode, it doesn't give you any option, like you can't change the amount of background blur effect we want, but after taking a picture we can change it. Now on the left side we have the option for video recording. We can record video in 1080p, but by default it is set to HD resolution. Make sure you change that. Now coming to the modes, it has the regular panorama and night mode. Now this is the interface for the front-facing camera, and I'm really sweating a lot, so you'll know why in a second. Now even this phone has a front-facing AI camera mode. Next we have the video recording. Next we have the wide selfie, which simply takes panorama selfies. You just do that and you get a wider selfie. Now these are all the sample pictures that I've taken in the afternoon, and as you can see, color reproduction is pretty good. At least on this display it looks pretty accurate. And here's some more. This is my dog, a golden retriever, and next I have also taken some portrait shots. Now this is a portrait shot, and when you click on the screen you get this option. Now using this option you can change the amount of background blur effect you want. Right now this feature is a bit buggy, and here it is. So when you take a portrait shot, we are getting this bubbles or whatever you want to call it, this kind of an effect, and it can be fixed with a future update. Now this is a video sample. Obviously there is no electronic stabilization, but overall footage looks pretty good. I was literally running behind my dog and footage was definitely usable. If you have stable hands, it's much more usable. I forgot to mention, to take portrait selfies, you need to first go to beauty mode and enable this particular toggle. Once you enable it, you will be able to take portrait selfies. And in my testing, even when you enable this, sometimes portrait selfie doesn't work. Like you don't get the blur effect, you just have to move the phone around and it works. Now these are all the sample pictures. Now usually Infinix definitely gives us pretty good front-facing cameras. Now this is a selfie-centric phone, so selfies are definitely pretty good. But even the rear camera was pretty impressive in good lighting conditions and whenever dynamic range was not involved. Now let's test the speaker loudness. So guys, speaker on this phone is pretty loud. Let's see how the vocals turn out to be. And in this video, I'll be showing you 45 plus features of the Samsung Galaxy A7. Now, I've already made a dedicated video on the tips and tricks section. Link for that is in the description. definitely check out that video. Now with that said, the first best feature about this phone would be the display. Yeah, I know a triple camera setup is a huge thing, but so guys, speaker loudness on this phone is pretty good, definitely one of the loudest speaker in the price segment, and obviously it is sufficient for media consumption, ringtones and alarms. Now if you look at the display, we have the pinch to zoom gesture right out of the box, so that's a great thing, and the phone is occupying the entire display including the notch area. So you are able to use the complete display especially while watching videos or even playing games. So that's definitely a great thing, and many phones, especially the Honor phones, do not support this feature. They simply black out this area. Now coming to the bezels are comparatively slimmer on the left, right and the top, and it does have a pretty huge chin at the bottom. But when compared to the Realme 2 Pro or even the Poco F1, well, I'm not comparing in terms of price or performance, but if we just talk about the design of the display, notch and the entire bezels, this phone is doing a slightly better job in terms of smaller bezels. By the way, this is also the second cheapest phone that you can get in the Indian market with a display notch under 10,000 rupees. First place has been taken away by Realme C1 and the Realme 2. Anyway, coming back to this phone, let's test the fingerprint scanner. I've already registered mine, so let's test it out. Okay, this phone gives us a nice haptic feedback even when I use the correct fingerprint. So guys, fingerprint scanner on this phone is pretty fast. Not the fastest I've seen, but pretty good, like the second best thing in this price segment. And even when I use the correct fingerprint or the wrong fingerprint, I'm getting a nice haptic feedback. And when the phone unlocks, you also get an unlock sound. Now haptic feedback for fingerprint scanner is something I really look into every phone, and this phone really has it. So that's a pretty good thing. But as I've said, haptic feedback on this phone is slightly on the stronger side, like it's very strong. Now I'll register my facial data and see how face unlock works. So guys, I'm done. Now in face unlock settings, make sure you enable this particular toggle so face unlock works better even in low lighting conditions. Now let's test it out in good lighting conditions. So it works and it is taking like a second or two, probably 2 seconds. Lock screen. So it's taking quite a long time. Now I'll try to close my eyes and see if it will work or not. So even with closed eyes, it works. It is unlocking the phone. And as you have seen earlier, there is no option to disable that. Now I'm going to try with my glasses on. And it even works with my glasses on. So that's a pretty good thing. Now I'll turn off all the lights in the room and see if it will work or not. And it still works. So guys, in complete darkness, it's taking like 4 to 5 seconds to unlock, and most of the time it simply doesn't work. But on this phone, we have a toggle over here. Once you click it, front facing flash will turn on. Try to see your face and then unlock the phone. Now that's a nice feature, but I wish they could automatically enable the front facing flash and then unlock the phone immediately. Now the same concept has been used even in the Infinix Hot S3, and I said the same thing even then. So guys, overall face unlock on this phone works. In good lighting conditions, it takes like 2 seconds, and in complete darkness, most of the time it misses, and then you have to use the front facing flash, which is an inconvenience, and we still have the fingerprint scanner, so I would suggest you to use this instead. As I've said, it is like the second best thing I've seen. Now before I conclude, these are the Antutu and Geekbench scores. So guys, this is the Infinix Hot S3X. It does come with a pretty amazing looking design, pretty good cameras I would say, and the second cheapest phone that you can get with a display notch under 10,000 rupees. So guys, what do you think about this phone? Do let me know by commenting below this video, and if you're planning to buy this phone, use the link in the description. It always helps the channel, and if you want us to make any specific video, tweet out to us with the hashtag AskGreedyTech on Twitter and I'll try to make it as soon as possible. I'm Nikhil from Greedy Tech signing off. Have a nice day.